Hello, 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 and welcome to the Hoopla of Y'all show. And I am your host, Hope. Maybe I'm your Hope. I am Shay Rippinger of Hip the Hoopla, and we are coming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. If you would like to comment today, comment in on the Facebook group, and I will be able to see those live. Otherwise, if you're watching the recording of this, thank you so much. And let's get started. Tonight's theme is free. So, kind of like free form, freedom, free. And part of it's the timing of that. Look it, and here starts the Pet Cameos too. So there goes Callie in the background, and then I have one sitting behind me. I'm like perched precariously on my chair here, and I only have I get to share butt cheek space with, yeah, with this little one. This is Capri here. So if you've joined us before, you know that we get some Pet Cameos in here too. So she likes being in the center of the action a lot of times. So this little one, she is pretty cool. I got her literally. I got her on 9/11. So she is, what are you, 17 years old now, right? And as the vet said when she had to get some blood work done, she's got the blood work. She's like a baby. So she's being a little feisty right now. Well, she's sort of feisty. She just wants to cuddle and stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna set you down. And I know you're going to still try and push me off the chair. Anyway, welcome to today's show. We cover health, humor, and hooping. So I noticed that I'm down one hoop on that pile today, and that is because I've had a hoop there for like over, I want to say over a year now, for a gal, and she just came and picked it up today. So and it was Broncos hoop. It was a special custom one, already paid for. I've just been sitting on it, and not for lack of trying to get it to her, but she finally was able to pick it up. The stars aligned just right, and all that kind of stuff. So, shout out to my lovely Hooper, Marcia. Marcia, she goes by both, but anyway, and for all my people watching, and special shout out to Maria too, up in Idaho, and to all of our family and friends and all that kind of good stuff. So alrighty, so let's get us started off with a little bit of laughter yoga exercise. I don't know if you've had a stressful day. I've had a busy one because I've been traveling a lot, so just getting back to schedule is a good thing. So I'm just even looking up and seeing that I haven't flipped up all the calendars over to the new month. So anyway, let's take a nice deep breath in and then laugh it all the way out. Breathe it all the way and roll those shoulders back, and then laugh it all the way out. One more time, breathe it in, roll the shoulders back, and laugh it all the way out. Remember, it's a fake it till you make it laugh, and it's just to oxygenate the lungs, get some of those oxygen to the cells. Remember that healthy cells, when they're well oxygenated, bad stuff can't live in well oxygenated cells, including dis-ease. So, and at the end of laughter yoga exercises, what we do is we take our hands together and go, very good, yay. Very good, yay. And the reason why we do that is to shout out to Dr. Kataria, who started, him and his wife started laughter yoga in India, and I'd have to go back to my book to see what year it was. But anyway, part of what I do as a laughter yoga leader is, explain a little bit of history sometimes now and then, because it's kind of fun, and it's nice to see the origins of everything. So, yeah. So, hello and welcome everybody. Thumbs up, hearts out, all that kind of good stuff. So, free. When my gal came over to pick up her hoop today, we were talking about some of the things that we encounter, and that's one of the reasons why this topic is in my mind. Is what we need to do the things that we need to do, and can they be free? Let's ponder that, shall we? Seriously, well, not seriously, we deal with humor on this show. So if you're tuning in for the first time, strap in. We're on for a ride. Hopefully a fun one. And if you've been with me before, you know I go for the low hanging fruit on the joke scale, and just try and keep it nice and light. There goes another pet cameo. So little Trot to the other room. Okay, so free time, right? So one might think that hooping or whatever you might like to do, that you need free time to do that. And one of the reasons why I want to cover free today is free is kind of a myth. Free you kind of have to pay for in some way, shape, or form, whether it be time, money, or energy. Or maybe it's not even one of those in that category. But um, so, for instance, we were talking about, like, oh, when I get some free time, I would love to take one of your classes and stuff like that. Um, that's a good thing, but I deal with, I talk to a lot of people all the time, and as you well know, we all have excuses for why we do or don't do anything. Usually we have excuses for why we don't do something, especially if it's something that we say we want to do or something that we have to do. So, have to, you can make it a choice, and, instead of making it a drudgery thing. And want to, you need to put some effort into it, otherwise, you're just talking about it all the time, right? So, and finding free time magically, who does that? How do you find free time? You usually have to make time. So it usually, like we said, free isn't free. You usually have to take it from somewhere else. So, for instance, there's a lot of gurus that say, get up a little earlier in the morning. And for some people, that might be a doable thing. And for other people, they're like, I'm already like getting, like 4 hours of sleep a night. So, I can't really get up any earlier. And fine, that's fine. But you may have to take, my dad said one time, Shay, you only have this much, you have a pie. And you have slices of this pie, but it's not an infinite number of slices of this pie. And when, your time allocation or money or resource or however your energy allocation can only cover so much of that. So, for instance, you need like, a section for sleep, you need a section for work if you work. If you might have a lot of section for work, you might work a ton. You may have family that you need to take care of. That's going to be another slice, And then, some recreational time or social time, time to get together with family, maybe your faith. Whatever it is that you do for recharging your batteries. For me, hooping is a recharging of the batteries, and it's a sanity mechanism for me as well. So I kind of have to take some time for myself to do that. And so it may be when I'm traveling, hooping in the airport. Yeah, I do that. I carry a travel hoop with me on my purse. TSA doesn't even ask me about it now. There must be a lot of hoopers traveling, and we're not crazy people anymore. We used to be like those really nutty people that'd be like, what is that? I did have a TSA agent, this was several years back, run up to me, and and like she's got guns strapped to her, and she runs up to me, so I'm like freaking out, and she does this. I'm gonna get up from a chair here real quick, and she comes up and she goes, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's a hula hoop." And she's like, "Really?" And her eyes just lit up. And so, by carrying a hula hoop around with me, it's not just because I want to whip out a hula hoop and hoop anywhere, but also it's a conversation piece. And for reactions like that, it's priceless because you get to, this was a gal who was very serious in her day, and she had a free moment where she could just like the 7-year-old came out in her eyes, and her eyes lit up, and that was perhaps a bright point in her day of just going, hula hoop, wow, we could do that as adults. Oh yeah, we can. You can make a business out of it too, because I do. So teach, make hoops, perform, do workshops, do all kinds of stuff. So do private lessons. So yeah, and that's cool. So yeah, so finding that freedom, having those joyous reactions, that's a really cool thing. So finding time, allocating energy to hoop or to do whatever it is that you want to do. It could be, maybe you want to play golf. Maybe you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to take time off and have a child, or whatever. That's a biggie. So that's going to take a huge amount of your pie. So that's gonna that sucks up your pie, and for many years. So obviously these the things. Maybe you want to read a book. That's one that takes up a little slice of pie. and maybe for a short amount of time. So your time goals may be, be accordingly. So anyway, but you do have to spend time if you're actually going to accomplish what you say you want to do. So that's one thing on that. So we were talking about the free time, and yeah, my theory on that is there's no free time. You have to find it or make it or create space for it. So it just doesn't magically appear usually ever. And I know so many busy women, and we're just, I know a lot of busy men as well. But the women that I travel in the circle with, I do not hear them ever, ever, ever utter the saying, "I'm bored." That just never happens, okay? So, because we have like 90,000 things to do at any given minute. And so, even relaxing is, a challenge for us. So, sometimes. So, just taking some time off and really super enjoying it. Hi, Jody. Hi, Hijab. Cool. Yes, thank you. So, yeah, so you're going to have to find some time to do that. Also, we were talking about budget. When my gal stopped over, we were talking about what is budget friendly. So, for instance, tuning into this show is free. This actually is. There's no obligation. You don't have to buy anything from me. You don't have to spend any money with me. You do have to spend a little time if you want, but again, you don't have to. So, must dedicate it for laughing. Yes, free times must dedicate it for laughing loudly. That is so true. That is so true. That's a really good point. That was a comment that just came across from Hitch Hitchum. So anyway, sorry if I'm massacring your name. Most people do that with my name, so my apologies if I am mispronouncing. But anyway, yes. So right. Mine is spelled CHE with an accent over the E. As that doesn't throw people off, because most people are like Che, and I'm like, so I have the twitching thing that goes, and then I have the twitch punch that, like, okay, you can like massacre it for the first maybe once, twice, maybe three times, and then, and I'm joking about that, of course, because I don't really hit people. But, in my mind, this is what happens, but not really. Anyway, so free time, free energy. So when you want to learn something, there are many resources available to you. So if you're using I don't have the money as an excuse, please rethink that. Please rethink that. And get creative with it. So, like, let's say you want to go back to school, you want to learn something. I was even just watching this movie last night. It was called Jennifer's Body. It was, I was like, why am I getting sucked into this movie? It's like really silly and just like, I wouldn't make my husband watch it or anything like that. But, and it turns out Diablo Cody wrote the movie. And I'm like, that's why, because I really like her writing style. But anyway, the gal in it needed to learn some stuff. And so she just went to her school library and started opening up all the books and reading. And her boyfriend made a joke and he said, we have an occult section, and she goes, yeah, it's really small. So there were a lot of jokes in this movie. It's like a vampire zombie horror funny movie. So and I like cheesy things like that. So anyway, but my point is, you can go to the library. Library is one of my favorite things. Get to know your librarians, your local librarians. They can like literally give you the world, access to the world. Obviously you have the internet. You're watching me here on it, so thank you for doing that. This is a free show. Hopefully you get some benefit out of it and learn some neat things, like some hooping or some, maybe life strategies, humor, hooping, health, the little strategies that help get you going in life. So like we started off with the laughter yoga exercise and that oxygenation of the lungs. You may or may not have known that exercise before, but even if you knew it, then it's nice to be reminded of it too, and to actually do it in real time or watching it, and go, oh yeah. So like there's a course, I'm going to go through it for the third time, and maybe I will actually finish it this time coming up this summer. We'll see how that goes. Or maybe I will actually do the parts of it that I haven't gotten to yet, and actually like fill in the blanks. But I really like going through the whole thing. But yeah, there's things that you can reiterate and get different pieces out of, or just go through it again. So, and just get reminded of what you already know, but put it into practice. So, yeah. So, do that. Oh, cool. Sheena's here. Oh, yay. Great, 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 great. Hi, welcome. So, anyway, okay. So, free time, myth. Make it free money. Let's see here. Yeah, library is a great thing. YouTube is great. Um, and sometimes you do get what you pay for. So I'm just gonna give you a little caveat on that. And we all know that that sometimes you do need to spend some money if something's really important to you. Like perhaps you want to get some knowledge of stuff. So yes, why do people come to me as a hoop teacher? Here's why. First of all, they like studying with me because I have a way of getting things to them. But maybe they want to learn some different things. And if they tell me about them or whatever, I'll incorporate them into classes or workshops or what have you. Yes, can you find this stuff on YouTube? Yeah, you can. You can. Does it take a while? Sometimes it does. Yes, sometimes Google is really fast with things, but sometimes you have to weed through a lot of stuff that you may not want to go through. So when you do learn and spend and invest with a teacher, then you could shortcut your learning curve with stuff. So yes, you can get a lot of things for free. Like I can go and read that entire library, or if there's something specific that I want to learn rather than read a section of books, maybe I go to a class because I can interact and I can ask questions and get feedback in real time. And since I've paid that money, I don't feel bad about asking, right? So, and also, if you want to ask questions on this or you have comments, do pop it into the Facebook Live feed. And if I can catch your comments later, if I see them, I will comment later afterwards. I don't type in real time because you'll hear this, which is nothing because I can't concentrate on two things at one time a lot of times. So the focus is better if I'm paying attention to one thing. Right, right, right. Yeah. Am I not the only one? Yeah, right. Okay. So yeah. So yes, yes, yes. Free things. There are a lot of free resources out there. Take advantage of the free resources. This is one of them. This show. For instance, I put out tutorials on Instagram. So when the gal was like, well, I don't know if I can make it to your class, I'm like, I put out so much free stuff that, I mean, if you took advantage of everything I've ever put out, you yeah, and actually did it. So one of the interesting things about free stuff is sometimes people don't value it. So like for instance, this course that I was taking, that I will be taking for the third time, and going through, I already paid for it. I paid a bunch for it, okay? So I have, as my dad would say, skin in the game. So, I have a vested interest in seeing it through because I paid money for it and I don't want to just throw my money out the window. I want to gain from it. And I actually have already gained a lot from it. So, just because it's free doesn't mean it is of little or no value. That is not true at all. A lot of people put out really good free content, and that is great. The thing is, why you don't value it, if you don't put it into practice or play right away, then that's not very valuable to you, and then you've basically wasted your time. So it really isn't free because you've wasted time and energy by not putting it into play, by not doing it. So, yeah, put it into play and all that kind of good stuff. All right, on that note, so we've done a little bit of the, do we do health? Let's see here. So I would consider the health portion of this kind of like your mental health costs. So your time and your energy are valuable, right? So the time you spend with me, I really appreciate that. I consider that time very valuable that you spend, and hopefully you get something out of this that makes a difference in your life. Even if it's just in the moment, even if it's just doing the laughter yoga exercise and laughing in the moment, or learning a hoop move, and if you practice it, then it'll go into your toolbox and into your repertoire. So on that note, we're going to do a little hoop move. I gotta put my hair up because it is really, it's toasty in here. So yeah, I have my, it's so funny. Let's see here, we'll put that on. No, let's do that. Stop. Okay. So I put it on a timer. I put it on a really short timer. So anyway, speaking of hot in here, look, it's flames. So yeah, they match. So my little flame leggings. I can't see the lower, but that's why I have to do a little high kick to show that. So all right. So let's get to some hoop moves. So I consider, so I want to keep in with the theme here of free and free form. So a lot of things that you need to do, I call it like, I really do call it free form. I also call it play. So when people say, and we just had this conversation, today of, I need to work on, oh, I need to work on that move. I need to work on that. I need to work on that. I had one of my students come in. She's a good friend of mine too, and say, I need to work on that. I need to work on that. I need to work on that. And after hearing her say that, like many times, I was like, that doesn't sound like much fun. And she's like, you're right, it doesn't. I said, how about if you play with that, play with that, play on that, play on that. And she's like, that sounds a lot better. And so just even tweaking your thought process of what you do and don't want to do, it's all a choice. So you can throw all this out the window and it may not make a difference to you. But if you want to, just play with it. So one of the exercises that I recommend for hooping, and I'm not going to do it right here because of copyright issues, and I don't know what would come on anyway, but that is, I call it the radio dial exercise. Now, you could do this with anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be with hooping, but I like it with hooping. You could do it with dance. You could do it with breathing exercises. You could do it with all kinds of stuff. You could, I don't know, maybe you're doing math homework. But what I do is, what I recommend is you actually a real radio. You could do it with Pandora, but you'd have to touch so many buttons. I want you to take a real radio where you actually have a dial or have a scanner or whatever, and you go up and down the dial. And for each piece of music that you come across, you don't have to like do the thing that you're doing to talk radio or whatever, but you want to do it to music. So one of the reasons why I recommend this is because you will probably come across some stations that you may not listen to already, right? And they may not be in your style or genre or something that you absolutely like. So the good news is it's a short, thing because you only have to do this for one song, right? So when you come across it in the dial, you may have already, maybe half of the song is already passed, so you may only have half of the song. The of course caveat is if you hit a classical station, you may be listening to a 20-minute opus. So maybe there's that. But the point of this is that you want to try hitting all these different things. And what I want you to try is with this radio dial exercise, every single song that you come across, do something different. So make it up on the spot. I recommend having a hoop notebook. And so you can write down your ideas in the hoop notebook so that when you're on the spot and you're trying to think of things, maybe you already have some things that you've thought of that you want to work on. So for instance, maybe I want to just work on the right hand, and I want to see what all I can do with the right hand that, for one song that maybe, this makes sense. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And then the next song I go and turn the dial, and maybe I'm like, okay, now what do I do with facial expressions? So I want to do everything, but I want to change up. I want to think about my facial expressions. So again, I'm just giving you some examples. Use your own. This could be silly, but I want to, whatever the facial expressions are. They could be silly. They could be, like, how do I do this? And be, whatever. Again, I'm being silly on this. So, facial expressions, and then go change the dial again. I'm like, all right, how about everything on the left side? So I want to just try everything on the left side. Like, how can I get stuff on my left side? So I change position. How do I get this? But I still want the left side. Maybe I want left elbow. Maybe I want kick and, whatever. So I'm playing with this, and by doing this, it's going to open up your mind the the music will help open up the synapses for the new neural pathways, and then coming up with new things in combination with the music too. It expands even more neural pathways. So new neural pathways is really good for keeping the brain very active and coordinated and moving. So yeah, so that's, so those are some examples of how you use that radio dial exercise. And one of the things to think about, this freedom and transformation of all that stuff is that, doing that free form, play, play, play. So, just do stuff. You don't have to look up all of these things on YouTube. You don't have to go, oh, that Hooper did this really amazing thing and I must copy that. What if you played with it and you discovered something that, it's like, ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? What's that? Ooh, what's that? And you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, especially, I find that some really cool things come out of so-called mistakes. So when I'm trying to save the hoop, that, like maybe I'm like, okay, how did that go? And I'm trying to be silly here and get something really obnoxious to figure out what to, do to save the hoop so that I don't have it hitting and dropping the floor. So I might have some really wacky like hook and flip, and I might do some stuff in order to save either the hoop from hitting something or the thing from being broken by the moving hoop. So there might be something like, oh, what am I doing here? There's all kinds of things. So playing with it, and those so-called mistakes you might encounter some really cool discoveries that you can put in your toolbox, like, oh, what was that? And you'll also find that you get things by accident. And here's one of the things I tell all my people, and that is, if you get it by accident, your body has it once, right? Your body and brain already got it once, even if it's by accident. So try something. So if you got it once, you know that it's possible even for you. So if you were thinking, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. I remember I was teaching somebody in the park one time how to chest tube, and she's like, hi, and I'm like, do this, and she did that, do this, do this, do this, and I gave her all the little steps, all the little steps, all the little steps. And she's, the whole time she's gone, I can't chest tube, I can't chest tube, I can't chest tube, I can't chest tube, I can't chest tube. And then she's like, I can't chest tube, I can't chest tube. And then I'm like, you can't say that anymore because I'm watching you do it. And she was like, and she still kept saying it because we get in our mental patterns, and we get really entrenched in them, right? So pay attention to, is that still true? It's not true because I was watching her accomplish the thing that she said she couldn't do. I'm like, I can see it. You're doing it. It looks good, so you've accomplished it. So practice it some more so that you feel like, and then you change the brain up so that you go, I am chest tubing. I am chest tubing. I am chest tubing. Okay, so, get those things, and part of it is opening up your mind. So freeing the mind. Ooh, mind blown, mind blown, mind blown. All right, so hopefully that has been some cool things today. So try that radio dial exercise. Try some of these things, opening up your schedule, and devoting some time and some energy and money if you want, or getting very creative. So even if you're on a limited budget, I always joke around. I'm like, when somebody comes around and they're, it's like free works out in my budget. Free is great on my budget. So that's my little joke. So again, free has been the show theme today, and I hope you've enjoyed that. I am Shay Rippinger of Hip the Hoopla. Hope you enjoyed the Pet Cameos too. So I will see you next week, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time, and on Monday nights, and we will be live. And thank you for watching the recording if you're watching the recording of this. So rock on, peace out. All right, I'm about to sneeze now. All right, you're going to shut down the feed now. All right, if there's any questions, I didn't see any come through, so any other ones. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. Rock on, peace out. This has been Shay Rippinger of Hip the Hoopla, and hit the website. I'm Hip the Hoopla everywhere. So HIPTHEHOOPLA. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel. What else? Pinterest, Yelp, all kinds of stuff. So put in some good reviews. Google Plus, whatever. Anyway, I'm easy to find. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, go hit up the website, get on the email list, which is free, and you get good stuff. So, and I will be sending it to you soon. All right, rock out, peace out.